So what are the things, Joel, you wanted to go over besides the itinerary of the boot camp?
Well, just kind of a tease for it. I'm obviously for three things that Douglas wrote down was going to answer the question, what do you do for a living? We don't want to give away too much of the candy. Obviously, that is important to it, and kind of talk about the basics of the objective training and also the conversion points. I know you'd kind of conversation points, excuse me. I know we kind of touched on that on our conversation with Aaron last week. There are a couple of our folks that are in DC, by the way, for those that aren't aware. I know Aaron hopped on a plane again yesterday, and he is in the Fonseca meetings in DC. So we've got 2 or 3 people, I think, and also from your group as well too, Tom. I think there's some folks even from the Breakaway League out there as well. So we're well represented.
Good. I know Slepsovich is there trying to do some recruiting.
Yeah, I know. And I think he, Aaron's doing the same thing. I'm over traveled. 3 weeks in a row was enough for me. I had to take a week off the road. So went from no travel to all I do is travel, it seems like. So well, looks like some of the people that were with us at lunch are joining. Tom, if you want to go ahead and get rolling, it's 5 after. I'll be mindful of their time. And the folks that are finishing their lunch will hop in the next couple of minutes and join us as well too. So why don't we go get started?
And Tom, with your permission, I'm broadcasting to the Facebook group. The only thing is they can't see anything, so I'm telling them join on the link. It's just the way it works.
All right, so this is to announce the upcoming event in Dallas, Texas. It's for 4 days. We're breaking this into 2-day increments. It's our boot camp used to be basically 7 hours one day, and I got to the point where the biggest comment that I got while doing boot camps was, this is so much information. Literally, everybody was brain dead by the end of that day. And what we've decided to do is break down and add some more content, which is a little different than the actual presentation itself. We will go over the full presentation just like we do in the actual client setting. But there's a couple things that I've added to it that I have found that while founding the Breakaway League and running the Breakaway League as an entity, there are certain things that people either sometimes need fine-tuning with or updated. And those are 3 things we're going to talk about first. So when we get to the boot camp, first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the explanation of services, how to answer the question, what do you do for a living? I have found that this is the most overlooked job responsibility of any sales organization or of any salesperson for that matter. Most people just will wing it. They'll look at your shoes, they'll look at your watch, they'll try to gauge the car that you drove in on, and then they're going to match what they think you want to hear to what they think you are. And I have very seldom found it beneficial to change my message trying to match the person I'm talking to. What I have found is that by having the same message spoken passionately, I'm able to share why I do what I do and then become attractive to those people who believe as I do. One of the biggest conversations that I have been able to take away from Simon Sinek's Start With Why is that as a salesperson, our responsibility, our job, if you will, is not to go out and find people who need to buy our product. Our job as a salesperson is to simply go out and find people who believe as we do. And the problem, as I have found in the industry, is very few people in the industry believe anything. We've been taught to chase shiny objects. We've been taught to either be amiable, analytic, expressive, or driver, and then match the personality we think we're talking to, only to find out that they don't believe what we believe, and we just wasted a time segment of our life that we will never get back. So the explanation of services is broken down into 3 areas, 3 different distinct areas, 3 different objectives actually. And what we do is we end up creating action. So rather than like an elevator pitch that simply just creates interest, and that very seldom then runs into or creates activity, the explanation of services is designed to, when you're done, you're going to be moving on to the next stage with someone who believes as you do. So I have found the explanation of services at my stage of my career to do the opposite. I want to identify those people that would have wasted my time. I want to quickly identify people who would be on my calendar for months while I'm spending a great amount of precious time convincing them that they should do what I'm asking them to do. I don't do that anymore. I don't sell. I educate. And by educating on why I do what I do, I will naturally attract people and I will naturally repel people. I don't want to try and convince someone who's not interested that they should be. I would rather spend my precious time with people who do believe as I believe. So while the EOS is pretty much designed to help you understand those people who do believe what you believe, in my stage of my career, I'm more interested in identifying the person who would have wasted my time. And I find that to be much more valuable for me. Yes, of course, we're all trying to make a sale with everyone we talk to, but that's not what I do anymore. My job is to simply go out and find people who believe what I believe. When we learn the explanation of services, there's a reason why we want to get to that point where someone asks, what do you do for a living? If it's not rehearsed, you'll wing it. Mine is rehearsed. Mine is staged. I know exactly every word that's going to come out of my mouth. And when I meet someone for the first time, my objective is to have them ask, what do you do for a living? From that moment on, I own the rest of the conversation. I know where it's going to go. I know what I'm looking for. And I'm quickly going to dismiss those that don't follow suit for what I'm looking for. I'm the buyer in this relationship. And one of the things that's really important when you start mastering your explanation of services is that you don't come across fake. Talking to somebody, asking them about their job, not listening to a dang thing they're saying, only to have them respond with, oh, so Tom, what do you do? That's fake, that's insincere, and 90 times out of 100, it's going to blow up on you. Don't do that. With sincere authenticity, and it's someone that I want to do business with, I do want to know why they do what they do, how they do it unique than everyone else, and what value proposition they bring. By me showing interest in them, they will naturally migrate to, well, what is it that you do? And again, from that moment on, I've memorized my EOS, I own the rest of the conversation. What we're also going to be talking about on that same day, then, we're going to talk about objective training. See, everything we do has an objective. When I'm on the phone talking to a client to schedule an appointment for an annual review, that's my objective. My objective isn't to find out how their kids are, which schools they're going to go to, or how the weather is in the city you're located. My objective is singular, articulate, and something I can either say, yes, it worked, or no, it did not. So in objective training, when management sits down with the members, and Joel, I have no idea what you guys talked about in your before you started here, but let's assume management's genre, the method of operation here was you need to make more sales. Well, I would argue there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done before you simply go out and make a sale. You have to do a lot of individual, separate, distinct things before you cash a commission check. But we can very easily say my objective is to make a sale. Well, we teach in objective training. Normally when someone writes down what their objective is, they will quickly discover there's a lot of things that need to be satisfied before that objective is met. We have an objective form in our boot camp. Actually, we're going to have a couple. And we do that because one is for actual sample during the course, and the other one is you're going to take home and print hundreds of these things. Because at the end of every objective, we do what's called a forensic analysis, if you will. When we're done with an appointment, we self-introspectively analyze what went well, what went poorly, what will I never do again, when did the wheels fall off, how did this work better than yesterday, what did I learn from this, and really all you're doing is self-critiquing. And when we become an adult and we are strong enough to analyze our own actions and hold ourselves accountable to the implications of those actions, you're well on your way to building a business. It's when we fail and we don't recognize when we fail or why we fail, we simply try it again and get the same result. That's called insanity. And when we try to think, I'm going to get better by just going out there and hitting it again. No, we need to analyze what's being done. So in objective training, we have a singular objective, and underneath that, did it work or did it not work? Then underneath that, we break it down. What went well? What went poorly? What will you never do again? What were some highlights? What were some languages or words that you used that got a different result? Then we're going to move on into conversion point analysis. Now in the Breakaway League, which is an organization of financial advisors from around the country, I teach a strategy on how to develop as much wealth as you want off the radar screen of the IRS for income tax purposes using the rules of the Internal Revenue Code. We have identified 5 different objectives, 5 different conversion points to make this sale actually happen and cash, unquote, a commission check. So the first thing we have to do is get off our butt. So conversion point number 1 is to get off your butt to find someone who's interested. Second conversion point is to take that person who's interested and meet them with a mentor or a co-worker so that 2 and 2 is 5. And we word it so that we don't sound incompetent at the expense of raising the bar for the person who's giving the mentor or the partner. We cannot elevate them at our expense. So we teach how to use language where 2 and 2 is 5, and the combination of the 2 is stronger than each individual component broken down. Conversion point 3, or C, is taking that webinar and actually filling out an application, taking action on the information that's shared. Once the application has been taken, we have found that's normally where most of the wheels are falling off the wagon. And it's simply because as salespeople, we've been taught, wrong, I believe, we've been taught once an application is in, we start talking about features and benefits and all the wonderful things this life insurance product is going to solve. We teach you just the opposite. We teach you while the underwriting process is going on. We teach you why talking about the problems that are being solved are more important than what is being solved and the effect being solved will have. Yes, I know what retirement looks like when you don't have to file a tax return. I already know that. You've never heard about it before, and there's a process to get you to that point. And quite frankly, it is 180 degrees from what you've been taught by most financial advisors. We teach how wealth works. In conversion point D, we've gotten the client still forward momentum, still excited about the strategy, still excited about the problems they're solving, and now an offer has been made. So in conversion D, we talk about the language that's used to now consummate the sale. Let's get together and figure out how much, how often, and what kind of benefit you'd like to receive at the other end. Now, this, to me, is the most fun part of the whole thing. The IRS says you can do it. The insurance company says you can do it. Now the question is, do you want to do it? And from conversion D, we move on to conversion E, and that is picking up a check and getting a referral. Of all the conversion points, that's the shortest chapter. If you've done your job well, conversion E is a no-brainer. It's a list of 15 to 20 people who believe as you do, and you are very encouragingly referred. Problem solvers are referred easily. Salespeople, not so much. Not so much. You might get a referral, but if you're solving people's problems long before they even know what the solution is, they will refer you to people that also want to join the journey that you're on. We break for dinner, cocktail hour, etc. Then the following day, we actually sit down with the presentation. I'm going to go over exactly the presentation we use each and every time. I'm going to give you the diagrams we use. And by the way, we do not use an illustration when we sell life insurance. Now, the client has to sign one when it's delivered, but we don't show an illustration in the presentation at all. Actually, we have them sign a form that said we didn't use one. Now, that doesn't mean we're trying to blow smoke or smoke and mirrors, if you will. It's just that what it is irrelevant. The product itself is not nearly as important as why you're even buying the product. And when you realize the problems we're solving, man, the product is incidental. That's just a means to achieve what we're trying to accomplish. That's going to be about 5 hours on that second day. When we're done with that, we're going to go over 5 sales ideas that you can write on a napkin. If you're at a honky tonk and you grab a cocktail napkin, I'll show you how you can draw pictures that will create tens of thousands of dollars of premium by just understanding conceptually how life insurance works. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to invite you to stick around for the Breakaway League invites. If for those people that are interested in joining the Breakaway League, we're going to have some time set aside to ask questions, and we're going to have some members of the Breakaway League there. I'm going to have them give some testimonials as to what they have done in the group. and how beneficial it has been for them to be in the group. And then we're done. So it's 2 days. It is packed. And by the time you're done, you're not going to hear anything new. It's the order that you hear it, and it's why you need to practice it will be a lot different than you've ever heard. And we focus on the things that really matter. We believe words matter, but we've also believed that the right words matter more. And then those right words shared passionately matter the most. We're going to teach you how to get all of that in one conversation. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Any questions?
Got a good group there. Tom has a powerful message. Everybody's camera's off and mic is muted. Come on and wake up and join us, guys. Anybody have any questions?
Well, I'll just do a testimonial. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Tom's a awesome presenter. I'd recommend everybody to go. I'm a slow learner. I've been to a couple of them. Love them. I gain something new every time. And I'll plan on being there too. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joel, for putting it on.
Looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully the snow will have melted in Minnesota by then.
Tom, I got a question. This is Grover. I missed the first part of this. I was downstairs talking to somebody else. And my question is, what are the dates you're going to be here and how much is it?
It's $1,469,709, and that's the discounted ticket.
Well, I knew I would get the discounted ticket, so I appreciate that. Will you take Hawaiian currency?
Yeah, I'll take crypto.
Grover, none of that Confederate money that you got stashed in your back pocket either.
It is. So are you licensed with Penn Mutual?
Yes, I am.
You're licensed through Joel, that good-looking guy in the top row of my Hollywood Squares.
Grover is just down the hall from me. He was eating button burgers with me 30 minutes ago.
In that instance, you get the big discount. So it's $100.
Okay. And what's the dates?
June 20th and 21st, and it's at the Embassy Suites, the one on the south side of DFW off of 183. You literally are in the landing path of the aircraft, but once you're inside, it's a real nice hotel.
Okay,
Very
June
convenient.
21st. Okay.
We're going to encourage people to just jump out of the window as a plane is landing and save the cab fare. It is that close to the airport. Tom, there's quite a few chats coming in. Somebody's saying hello from Cape Canaveral. I'm trying to figure out who a couple of these people are. Maybe you know who some of them are.
Who's MS? Is that
Dunno.
from
Mike Smith? No?
Douglas? I don't know. I don't think it's Mike Smith.
So there is no virtual option. There's a workbook, and we're putting it together right now. It is literally a half-inch thick. You're going to get pretty much in print all the neat stuff that we do at the Breakaway League shared within 2 hours. 2 days. So you're going to get the cram course of what we normally do in 6 months' time. When you're done, because we're not going to go over every page in that workbook, but when we're done, you should be able to take that workbook, build an explanation of services, fill out what an objective is each and every time you have one, and then understand the conversion points. Then you should have every file, 5 conversion points, forms, they're all different objective, in every client folder. And then on conversion C, which is the underwriting process, we've got it broken down into 6 to 8 phone calls, because it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get a case issued and a check printed. So keeping notes. When I worked for John Hancock, I was taught to build a file on 4 Ds. Discover, discuss, disclose, document. Discover what they want, discuss it in phenomenal detail, disclose your fees and commissions, and document everything you've done. We used to have clients sign our notes. I would take a pen from the lower left to the upper right hand of a piece of the paper, and I would have them write in big letters their name, sign it. And then they say, can I have a copy? I would say no, because as a registered rep, you're not allowed to give your notes to your client. I don't know if you know that or not, but you're not allowed to. So we teach all that good stuff. It'll be like drinking water out of a fire hose, I'm sure. And there is no virtual option for a variety of reasons. I really don't want this on the interweb.
Easy to get to, lots of flights to Dallas on American and or Southwest, and we've got a lot of folks driving in as well too, though. I know we've got a number of folks who are attending who aren't on the webinar yet as well too, but we're at a point, folks, where we're kind of coming out of the endemic, and I know that I was half kidding and half serious earlier, because the travel I've been doing recently has been profoundly more impactful than all the Zoom calls and webinars I did in 2020 and 2021. So get out there. The Dallas-Fort Worth Chamber appreciates you, and Tom's deal, even at full price of $500, is a heck of a bargain.
So Mr. or Miss MS asked, why did I give up my registered rep status? Very simple. I was not able to tell the truth to my client. That's kind of the summary of it. As a fiduciary, I'm required by law to tell you just two things: what my fee or commission is going to be, and if I have a conflict of interest. I do not have to help you understand the implications of any financial decisions you make. So if you put 100% of your net worth in an IRA, the income tax rates go to 100%, and you get nothing, you cannot sue me for misinformation. Well, my broker-dealer was prohibiting me from having conversations about how wealth works and how taxes affect distribution, because I was not a CPA or a tax attorney. Yet I pay hundreds of thousands a year in federal tax. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. So I said, screw you. Here's your license back. I'm now made it my career, my life's journey for the rest of my life is to talk about how wealth works, how income taxes are the number one reason why people with money don't have a lot when they retire. We start with the end in mind, and we build strategies so you don't have to pay taxes. It's amazing how simple it sounds, but how restrictive your broker-dealer will allow you to talk honestly about how wealth works. So I said, you can have it, and it'll be 3 years this month that I have been free of stupidity. I love the firm that's out there talking about we're a fiduciary. We're required by law to like you. Well, I kind of like my clients most of their lives and don't need to be told by the government I have to treat you nicely. So I give it the registration. So Mr. MS or whoever that person is saw the video of 3 million, 5 million. We will talk about that in the boot camp. That's not a napkin sale, but we sure as heck could sell a lot of life insurance by just asking that question. 3 million in the right spot spends better than if I had 5 million in the wrong spot. And it's amazing to me how many people do not realize the impact, that simple understanding that 3 million is better than 5 million simply because of where it is. It gets most people off the rate of return conversation. And as a registered rep, I was taught. Yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Tom. You there? Tom, did you have a question?
Maybe Tom was taking another call. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
He's muted out now.
Okay. All right, any other questions? I want to talk about two things. We've got coming up February 17th, the 15th through the 17th of next year. We're putting together a professionals forum. It's going to be in Nashville at the Country Music Hall of Fame in the Country Music Auditorium. It's going to be guest speakers, 2.5 days. It's Tom Hagna, David McKnight, Van Miller, myself, Jim Ruda, Mary Jo Ehrman, and Cody Askins. We're also going to be having a spot for 7 other TED Talk-like speakers. Lunches are going to be provided. We have Nashville musical entertainment on Thursday night, but it's Wednesday through Friday, and we have a few tickets available for Wednesday night, VIP tickets, where we get to 2 hours, heavy hors d'oeuvres and cocktails with the sponsors and the guest speakers. So it might, we have 650 available seats, but with that headline, I'm anticipating we're going to probably sell out. But that is the professionals forum up and running now, David? Wonderful. The tickets are $850 early registration. The ticket cost for the VIP is $150, so it's $1,000. The later we register, the more expensive it's going to be, but that is up and running. And last, I want to talk about the newsletter that we have. The newsletter is built around the idea of current events. So I'm going to take the current event. I'm going to tell you as a registered rep or a financial advisor or a life insurance sales rep what you should know about it. I'm going to tell you what our clients and prospects should know about it. I'm going to rant about what is important to me regarding that current event. And then I'm going to give you 4 or 5 conversation starters built around that current event so that you can quickly become a person of interest and talk to people anywhere, anytime, to anyone about a current event and probably walk away with an appointment. Not necessarily a sale, but my goal with that newsletter is to turn you into a person of interest. That's, you want to put, oh, you got that up too. David, thank you. Thank you. Want to subscribe to the newsletter? It's $12.95 a month. We're right now finishing up June's. And I want to tell you this. I don't want to get the cat out of the bag, but tomorrow at 9 o'clock Central, I'm going to be doing a Zoom meeting on why the stock market is going to allow, the way that it is today, is going to allow you to pay 25% less federal income tax on your qualified retirement plan without selling one security. So you don't have to worry about getting into the best interest contract registered rep rules about buying or recommending selling securities. It has nothing to do with that. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what everyone is not talking about, and that is the fact during a market correction, you will be given an opportunity to pay less income tax on your qualified money and still hold the investments that you have. That's also in the newsletter. So hope you can subscribe. And yeah, this is not a client-approved newsletter. This is for us. This is for registered reps and financial advisors. It's not for public consumption. We're putting together a podcast now, David. We were doing a dry run when it became 1 o'clock. So we're going to be doing a dry run about every newsletter, but the podcast is going to be for the consumer. So I mean, registered reps, accountants, and attorneys can listen in if they'd like to, but we're going to take the current event and now make it a conversation about the what the consumer should know. Any other questions? Anybody learn anything today? Anybody hear anything they didn't hear before? Darren Weston, welcome. Mencho, you've been on a couple of these. How are you doing?
I'm good. And yeah, I've heard it before, but it's always, good to get reinforcement.
Good. Well, I want to thank you guys for taking half an hour out of your day and listening. Hope to see a lot of people there. It's fun. One of the things that you cannot take from me is the passion that I have. You can try, but it ain't going to work. So I do enjoy sharing what it is that we do and why we do it different.
This is going to be 2 different 2-day sessions.
Yes.
In Dallas.
Yes.
The content's the same though.
Yes.
Okay.
So Tom, the sign up for the newsletter is in the thread here, and Darren, regarding what's going to be talked about in Nashville. If you know anything about me, one of the biggest complaints I have in our industry is that we've been allowed for so many years to not tell the whole story. And again, as a fiduciary, I just have to tell you what my commission or fee is going to be and if I have a conflict of interest. I don't have to tell you the implications of anything that you buy. I have to understand the product. but I don't have to tell you. If you build an account, you don't know what you owe, and you're going to owe 90% of it to the government. Oops, sorry, you should have learned about taxes. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to talk. To me, the biggest problem in our industry is that we aren't really taught how to communicate with people. We're taught features and benefits. We're taught products. We're taught how to sell an illustration, which is totally, to me, 100% wrong. So what I want to do, and I've asked every speaker who is successful by doing something different, by either talking about statistical analysis of the general public and the problems most people have. I'm going to lead on Thursday morning talking about the EOS. And I'm going to be the first speaker. I'm going to be the first speaker because I think that is, while everyone is going to be at this meeting, we're not going to ask, so what do you do? We know what you do, but the question might be, what part of the life insurance industry do you focus on? Or what do you specialize in? And again, to me, the EOS is the most overlooked responsibility of any professional. How do you answer the question, what do you do for a living? So I'm going to go first. Everybody else has been instructed. No selling of CDs, DVDs, books, nothing. What we're going to do is we're going to get up and we're going to talk about what makes these people unique. How are they doing what they're doing? And what level of success were they before they started? And where are they now? This is not sponsored by any particular product. This is an elevated educational experience, triple E. And I hope to have this every year in Nashville, which I just heard yesterday is the #1 spot in the country for entertainment. Wow, I mean, we beat Vegas? Unbelievable. But I want to capitalize on giving back. I've been very fortunate in my career. I've been very successful. I want to help other people achieve a level of success they never thought possible by simply breaking down the responsibility of eating an elephant one bite at a time. And all of the guest speakers have committed to being able to do that. No self-serving, bloviating pinheads on stage. Not allowed.
That may be a good place to wrap up, Tom. No pinheads allowed.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Any other questions? If not, we're going to go ahead and break. Hope to see people tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If you want to sign up for that, that's a Zoom invite. David, you want to put that up there too?
Let me find it.
I'm going to go into detail talking about how the stock market drop is going to save your clients tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal income tax without selling one security. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.